Perfect. So, hi, I'm Nicolae Berbece, and I usually start my talks with a joke of how nobody can pronounce my family name. So I'm not gonna do that here. I'm just gonna play a video of some of my favorite YouTubers.
Speaking of Patreon, we also want to thank our patron. Thank you, Nicolae Berbece, Nicolae Berbece. Thank you, whatever your fucking name is.
So hi, I'm Nicolae Berbece. I'm from Vampire Land, Romania, and I'm an indie developer. I worked with like 1 or 2 friends for most of my development career. I've been doing this for about, I think, 7 or 8 years now. And during this whole period, I managed to gather a team of like 7 really awesome developers, and now we're making experimental games. And I'm here to talk about target audiences, and I tried really hard to find the cheesiest stock photo I could, and this was the best I could do. So yeah, I grew up on a website called Newgrounds, which was, yay! Wait, who here knows what Newgrounds is? Nice! Okay, so, for those of you who don't know, Newgrounds is a Flash portal, where you can play like random Flash games and watch Flash animations, and talking about target audiences, the games I made on Newgrounds were made for a target audience that closed the tab if the loading screen was nice enough. Like, it was meant for people with a very short attention span, because all the games were free and you could switch to from one game to another. So you basically had like 5 seconds to get somebody's attention. And most games were started from the sentence, wouldn't it be cool if? And you insert a stupid game mechanic there. So basically, most of the games I made in the past were games that I would like to play, and I didn't really worry about any target audiences. And because of this, I ended up making games like Super Extreme 5 Minutes Shoot 'em Up, which is a shoot 'em up game that ends in 5 minutes, literally. You cannot play it more than 5 minutes. Peter Go Buy Boots, a game where you play as Peter and you go buy boots. Tiny Timmy and Big Bill, it was a game where you control 2 characters. One of them is super big, the other one is super small. And Mechanical Ice Apocalypse, it was literally a boss fight. The entire game was one boss fight, which I still think it's cool. Concern Joe, which was a game where your health drained constantly if you didn't move. Kawaii Run, which was the game where you run through the desert as a chicken. It's like, I don't know. And my favorite, Drunk Vultures, where you play as a vulture that tries to get drunk faster than the other vulture. You can play all these games. You shouldn't, but you can. So one of those became a bigger game. Concern Joe became Move or Die, which is a 4-player friendship ruining game. And instead of me explaining what it is, I'm just gonna play the trailer really quickly.
What happens when you combine every party game ever created together? That would be pretty stupid. But we did it. Get it now on Steam.
Because it's available on Steam, so that's where you gotta go to get it. Go get it. Steam is good. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get the game. Go get it. It's great. It's fun. Go get the game. Where'd you go? Go!
So that's what we're doing. So it's a party game. Now, the thing about party games is that it seems like a lot of people play party games, and there's a lot of overlap between target audiences. Aside from the fact that most people play party games, you can even say that some non-gamers play party games because they're just so easy to pick up. But you can say this about every genre out there. For example, you can say that a lot of kids play the train simulator, or a lot of city building games, or that a lot of adults play Roblox or similar games, at least not ironically. But there seems to be a lot of overlap in the party games genre that doesn't happen with the other genres, which is cool. So yeah. This was a picture I took at a maze a few months ago in Berlin, and it totally looks like an advertisement for the Switch. So yeah, with Move or Die, I didn't really worry about a target audience, just as I made Flash games before, I just made a game that I thought was cool. But during development, I tried to make everybody happy, so I started worrying about making Move or Die more accessible. So the first thing I worried about is age, and I want to make sure the game is interesting for both younger and older players. So for example, for the younger players, I added elements like interesting looking characters that are, they have interesting expressions, and the whole cartoony aesthetic of the game that seems very approachable. And for the older players, I added things like mutators, which change the game's mechanics every now and then, and game modes that are focused on actual depth and strategy that you can actually study and become a better player by trying out new game modes and new mutator combinations. So yeah, the best part about that is that it panders to both audiences, both young and older, and I get emails from parents saying that they play the game with their kids, which is really awesome. In this case, this guy was asking if the game is coming to Xbox because he's looking for a non-violent party game to play with his kid, which is funny because he probably didn't see our Halloween update. So yeah, that's potentially damaging because once you, in our case, because the game was cartoony looking, I got a lot of people coming up to me and asking when is the game coming out on mobile because it totally looks like a mobile game, and I had to go like, fuck off. Some people avoid the game because it looks cartoony and it gives out that kids-like game that might not have depth. So it's an interesting thing to keep in mind. But yeah, party games. Not everybody can invite their friends over, which is a very interesting thing because, for example, I showcased Move or Die in Japan, and I was told that it would never do well in Japan because people don't invite friends over because their apartments are super small there, and I never thought of that, and that's why most gameplay happens in arcades, in malls in Asia. But the thing is, nobody plays party games alone. I mean, sure, we have AI in the game, and you can play with AI bots, but that's not fun. So that's why I decided to add online in the game mid-development, which is something you shouldn't do because it's a horrible thing to do. You should always account for that from the very beginning. But I think it helped a lot. I don't know how the game would do without it, but I'm pretty happy that I made that decision to implement it with development, even though it's kind of held together with duct tape and stuff. So yeah, who here knows about the Richard Bartles types of gamers? Nice. Okay, so that guy over there basically categorized most gamers that are out there, and he said that there are killers out there who focus on dominance, on asserting their dominance upon other players, socializers, which focus on socializing, explorers, and achievers. And I didn't really worry about these player types when I was developing the game, but it's interesting to look back at the game now that it's been out for more than a year and see how it holds up. So in this case, for killers, killers are about asserting dominance, and the game appeals to them by being competitive in nature. So simply by playing the game, it kind of panders to the killers. And also we added emotes mechanic where you can use emotes to be an asshole basically, so they can use that to assert dominance as well. Socializers can interact with other players through the in-game chat. So that's one way of interacting with other players, aside from actually using the emotes and trading Steam items. Every character in the game is a Steam item that you can trade with other players. Explorers, not much, we didn't do much for explorers. We have a level editor, I'm not sure if that counts towards exploring, and you can unlock characters and game modes, but I'm also not sure if that would be a point towards explorers. I would much rather put those towards the achievers, which seem to be the target that gains the most out of Move or Die. And they get the most because we have this leveling up system where you play the game, you level up and you unlock characters, you unlock game modes. All of them are as stupid as they look. You unlock mutators, you can unlock achievements, we have daily missions and we have daily challenges, and basically the whole thing, it has this collective value to it, and all of this is represented in your collection screen, which keeps track of everything you unlocked in the game. So basically, when you look at it, the chart looks something like this, which I'm still not sure if it's a good or a bad thing, but hey, that's how it turned out. We also did a thing for streamers. I was fascinated by streamers starting to become more popular as we were working on the game, like 3 or 4 years ago. We added a mode where you as a viewer on Twitch can influence the game that the streamer is playing. And I'm going to show you the video of that update we made.
Aren't you tired of just watching streamers play games on Twitch? What if you could actually influence their game while they are playing it live? It's time to piss off your favorite streamers. Everything you type shows up in the game. Pick what game modes the streamer will play. Vote for upcoming mutators. Try to kill the streamer by using lasers. Decide if he lives or dies. And directly control special game modes designed to pit the viewers against the streamer. Also included in this update, new awesome characters, including Shovel Knight, the Twitch logo, and Timberland from Newgrounds, a new and grumpy announcer.
Give this game a 5-star rating. What was that?
Aaron, also known as Eagle Raptor, a new mutator that allows you to go through walls, and a new game mode, Heavy Bullets. This is the Viewers vs. Streamers update. All of this already in your Steam library for free. Move or Die, available now on Steam.
So yeah, that's basically what it was. My stupid idea while watching some streamers, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we can do that? Turns out you can. Not sure if you should, but you can. So I think it helped the game in the end. Another interesting lens to look at the game through is regions. And now that the game has been out for over a year, I can actually go on Steam's backend and see the results for where people bought the game the most. And this is how it looks like. Obviously, United States is on the first place, followed by China and Russia, which is interesting because it seems to be quite unusual, and I think that is because we made sure the game was translated in both Chinese and Russian before it came out, so I think that helped a lot. Followed by Germany, which stands at 7%, which is 7% more than my own country, which stands at a solid 0%. Which is funny because even Antarctica got 1 unit. So that's interesting. Here's a heat map that doesn't have any legend to it, but hey, it looks cool, so I edited it. But yeah, what do players think about this? And while I was working on this talk, I figured out I should ask random players on Facebook what they think of it. So I asked, for those who play Move or Die, who would you say is the target audience for it? And most people said that people who play party games with other people, or people who have friends. People tend to agree, which makes sense. And then there was that one guy that said Russians. No, seriously, I have 3 Russian friends on Steam that play it constantly. So yeah, what do players think right after they play it? Now I'm going to show you a video from PAX East because we showed the game at a lot of events, and I've seen a lot of players play Move or Die, and it's really nice to ask them questions about the game and just observe who comes at our booth. And this is how that looks.
It was chaotic, but it's instantly understandable.
It was easy to pick up.
Very intense, and it doesn't even give you time to think about why it's intense. I love it. I smoked my girlfriend in it, and I took everybody else down, and it felt great.
It was excellent. I loved it.
Cause I'm right in the building. Welcome everybody, adults and to the children. The guitar, the bass, the drum, the rum, the dum, dum.
What would you like to see in the game as a character?
Character that is just a beard.
Yeah.
Probably like a demon character, I think.
This game screams the need for cats. It needs cats.
A balloon with a marker face drawn on. Maybe Kirby.
I think Nintendo would hate us for that, but
So it's really cool to look back on this video and pay attention to what kind of people show up and play the game. Also, I think it's very powerful to have the players' reactions in your trailer. So if you have the means to do this, I encourage you to do it. But yeah, I went back and sifted through photos from these events, and I figured that there's a pretty diverse crowd who seems to enjoy Move or Die. I cannot pinpoint a specific target audience for it. And yeah, as you can see, what I mentioned before with the younger and older audiences, it's really, really cool to see super young kids play your game and enjoy it and understand it. And most importantly, it's super awesome to see parents play the game with their kids and having a great time. And I think this is mind-blowing. Like, this keeps me going, this keeps me making games and do what I do. But yeah, based on what Steam Spy says, apparently Move or Die sold 500,000 copies. And based on that, the conclusion is that I made a party game that I would play without worrying about the target audience, and it worked out. But I still don't know why it worked out. So thank you.